Hi, my name is Chris Ravenscroft. Welcome to the Beauty Gourmet program. I'm really excited about today's show. Today we're going to be talking about beauty and how it relates to stress. There's all of us are stressed most of the time, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon. But how we deal with it can make a big difference because stress can really affect your body and your health, and not in a very good way. And that is inevitably going to have a domino effect on how you look and feel. So today I just wanted to address a few of the issues with stress. The first thing that happens typically when we get stressed is we stop taking care of ourselves. We just devote a lot of energy to whatever's stressing us out. Maybe we never had time to take care of ourselves in the first place. And, the chemical compounds in our bodies change because we start releasing stress hormones. And there's a whole cascade of issues that we'll, kind of hit on in a second. But number one, you start getting stressed. The first thing that seems to go is hydration. We just stop drinking water. I don't know if you're anything like me, and I know a lot of my friends, you not only stop drinking water and become dehydrated and thirsty, you then mistake that thirst for hunger and you start eating. And you can't understand why, no matter how much you eat, you cannot satisfy yourself and your hunger cravings because they're actually thirst cravings. Now, this is bad in two ways. One, you overeat. But secondly, you end up with not drinking enough water and you become dehydrated, and that shows in your skin, right? Your skin becomes drier and crepe-like, and you're more prone to fine lines at that point and all the other issues that happen when you get dry skin. This is a pretty simple solution. The nice thing is you just have to drink water. Easier said than done, right? I've found this awesome little tool called the Oola, and it's simply this band that you put around any vessel, whether it's a glass or a bottle that you might be drinking your water from, and it'll light up for you every half hour. The body's actually meant to take in smaller amounts of water in more consistent points of time. So as opposed to drinking 4 glasses of water as I sit here right now, that's not really going to do a great job dehydrating me. It could actually be depleting because you're going to lose most of that water and not uptake it into your cells. But if you take maybe 4 ounces of water, which is about half a cup, but it is a half cup, every half hour, it's going to be the perfect, for most of us, it'll be the perfect uptake rate for us. And this device, this Oola, helps you do that. So it's a little device that goes, it's on the band that goes around your drinking bottle or what have you, and it will light up every half hour. It'll just blink and remind you to drink. And then once you tip your bottle up to take a drink, it will then go off and reset itself to the next half hour. It's absolutely genius. I love it. I recommend it to everybody. And all my friends have it because I've given it as gifts. So that's hydration. The other thing that happens with stress is, and this is a simple one as well, and I did this for years and I'm still repairing damage from this, is we make facial expressions that are really unappealing, and then they get permanently etched in our face. Like if we furrow our brows, we might get a deep line crease right between the forehead. If we frown a lot during these stressful periods of time, it weighs down and you start getting the fine lines that kind of, head downwards towards your chin, around, right under your eyes, instead of, bright, happy smile lines. I'd much rather have smile lines than frown lines. And then you get the frowning around, the actual frown lines around your mouth. This is harder to do because it's usually something we're not aware of. So the number one thing to change the course of this when you're stressed is to be mindful. And gosh, that's hard. But to recognize when it's happening and to be like, I'm not doing this, right? And almost forcing yourself to smile, which I believe studies have shown will release serotonin and other chemicals, happy chemicals in your brain, just the act of smiling, even if you totally don't mean it. So fake smiling has its advantages. So you have to be super mindful. And if you're like me, and you wrinkle your forehead all the time when you speak, when you're stressed or not stressed for that matter. I'm like a very expressive forehead person. I had to train myself not to use my forehead. And one technique I used, and we'll discuss other techniques in other programs, was you can at night put, or in the daytime, if you're home, put tape up there. So when you use your forehead, you're aware of it. And so now I don't use my forehead barely ever to speak. And I would use it consistently. And that will create really deep wrinkles, as it did for me, along with other health issues and nutrient deficiencies and dehydration, et cetera, et cetera. But you add all those in combination, and you're going to end up with some premature aging that's just not fair. So, be mindful and take precautions to train yourself not to make repeated facial expressions. The other thing that's obviously a huge thing with stress, as we were talking about earlier, it throws your hormones off, you release cortisol, and you break out, right? The hormone breakout, and that happens at every age. That's younger ages, your hormones are typically a little bit more unbalanced at times, and you have regular acne breakouts, but you can have acne breakouts at 50 with hormone issues. And there's nothing more frustrating than fighting fine lines, wrinkles, and acne. And it's because it will disrupt the balance of good and bacteria in your gut. Cortisol plays a huge role in inflammation of the skin. And then, it also actually increases your glands' ability to make oil. So your glands will actually make more oil. They will mix with the dead skin cells, clog pores, acne. So the only solution to this, in my opinion, the only right solution, you can definitely, treat acne topically, but you have to get out of the stress mode. You have to stop producing all of that cortisol at that level to make sure that you don't go into this cycle of hormone imbalance, dysbiosis, et cetera, that leads to this inflammation, leads to the overproduction of oil, leads to the clogged pores. So you have to, we all need to have coping mechanisms for stress. It's critically important, and they're going to vary for people from person to person. Some might be walking, some it might be listening to music. Meditation's a great one. Yoga's awesome. But if you don't have time for all that sounds lovely. You're like, if I had time for all that, I wouldn't be stressed. And I totally get it because I've been there. The power of a deep breath would surprise you. All you have to do is take a few really deep, meaningful breaths throughout the day, and it will calm your nervous system, and it will take you out of your sympathetic nervous system and try to put you into your parasympathetic nervous system. These are not exact. This goes so much more complicated, but keeping it simple here, you're trying to get out of that stress response. So just, even if you're not that stressed, quite honestly, to get yourself calm at any time and practice that even during unstressful times, that's the best time to make that a habit. What if you take 10 deep breaths a day, on the hour, what have you? That would serve all of us. And then during the stressful time, those habits would be there for you. And that's going to go a long way to reducing the production of cortisol, the overproduction of cortisol, and towards stopping that acne cycle. So, at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves and that we don't allow ourselves to get so stressed that it causes, these things that make us really uncomfortable with our day-to-day. And they also don't make us feel good. And at the end of the day, that's what beauty is about. It's about not just looking your best, but feeling your best. Because that will show. How you feel will, without question, show in how you look. Well, I hope this program was helpful, and I hope you join me next time. Have a beautiful day.